Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. Right, so we're going to go over the Paris Masters, Djokovic winning his 6th Paris Masters title and beating the reigning champion Daniil Medvedev, exacting revenge on the Russian after losing the US Open final 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. Well, it was sweet, sweet revenge for the world number one, winning 4-6, 6-3, 6-3. And I tell you what, it was a very, very entertaining match. Some very long rallies and grueling encounters, that's for sure, between the two. But Djokovic, to be fair, adapted and he started using different game plans, started serving and volleying a lot more, and that definitely helped and got him the win. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the match and how it went, and also then briefly touch upon the Paris Masters as a whole, a couple of more records to talk about. Djokovic going past Nadal. They were both tied on 36 ATP 1000 Masters titles before this tournament. Djokovic won his record 37th after clinching this title. On top of that, he also joins Nastase in 1973 and Agassi, who did it in 1999, as the only players to win both the French Open and the Paris Masters in the same year. So a little bit of nice history there. And on top of that, he also managed to extend his head-to-head against Medvedev, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I think there is a slight significance in there. The head-to-head was 5-4 to Djokovic going into this, but Medvedev had obviously won the last one at the US Open, and he was looking to level it up at 5-all Medvedev. To get to 6-4, it's a little bit of a signal there, but we shall see. Right, but a fantastic little rivalry for the past year or so between these two, especially on hard courts. They are clearly the two best players on hard court, no doubt. And yeah, very, very, very good display from both during the tournament. So good to see. Obviously, they will both go into the ATP World Tour Finals as 1 and 2, so we could see this another rerun of this match potentially if they make probably the finals. I would imagine is how it will get seeded, but we shall see. In terms of game plan and how the match went, I mean, Novak Djokovic is and has been for a very long time one of the best returners, if not the best returner ever. But the one thing that's improved a lot, and it's been banged on about, especially this year, because he did so well at the Australian Open. He served the most aces in that Grand Slam, which is the first time I think I've ever that he's done that at a Grand Slam tournament. His serve has improved immensely, no doubt. Not just the extra bit of pace, but the placement and the different variations on the serve. And on top of that, I think, is his volleying. So just to give you some numbers as well, he came to the net, right? So we're talking about him coming to the net 36 times, and he finished off the point 27 out of those 36 times. So that's very, very impressive. And if you want a percentage, I can give you a percentage. That is 75% of the time he's come to the net and he's managed to finish the point off and win the point. He actually said in the post-match interview, he said, I came into the net and he was like, it was a little bit more free for me on the shots to swing through the ball. That's what happened pretty much the entire match, especially in the second and third set. He said Medvedev stands so far back, which is very true. So he said, I tried to serve out wide so that it would open up the court, and then I've got the whole court to play with and coming to the net and volleying with low volleys over the net or half volleys really then gives me an advantage. So that's what he said after, and it's a very, very good point. And look, let's be honest, everyone thinks it. It's the same with Nadal when he stands that far back. You just think, well, we'll just chuck the serve out wide, come forward into the net, open up the court, especially on the juice side with the righty. Djokovic loves that serve as well. The short slice serve out wide on the juice side to the forehand of his opponent, drags them out court, and then either goes forehand down the line, which is just to be honest with you, the typical play for that serve, or coming into the net. And making it basically saying to your opponent, look, you have to hit an unbelievable turn down the line to pass me at the net. Your serve is good enough, that's short slice serve out wide. And the majority of the time, Medvedev, I say majority, I don't think I saw one forehand whiz past Djokovic down the line when he employed that tactic. There are a couple where he managed to go cross court at a big enough angle to actually manage to pass him somehow, or it just dipped before Djokovic and he had to hit a half volley, and then Medvedev managed to get there, and it was the approach shot or the volley or half volley from Djokovic, which wasn't good enough. But for the most part, even when Medvedev was hitting it so cleanly and so low over the net, it was straight at Djokovic going cross court, and Djokovic just did really well with the volleys, and his volleying is much improved. He employs that tactic a lot more, and it is reminiscent, to be fair, of Roger Federer, who, to be fair, always had an element of his game that was serve volley, but he's definitely served and volleyed and tried to finish off points quicker as he's gotten older, and Djokovic is doing the same thing. It's funny because if you look at the stats as well for rallies, if you look at the points between 0 to 4 and 4 to 9 in terms of rallies, shots in a rally, Djokovic dominated both those rallies when it was 0 to 4 shots and 4 to 9 shots. The rallies that were 9+ shots, Medvedev dominated. Now, this is very interesting, and this is where I think we need to discuss it. And the reason why is because you might think, well, that's not really important because Djokovic won and the shorter points he's winning. And that is a very, very good point. But the reason why I want to highlight it is because in the past, you would associate Djokovic with being able to outlast opponents. Now, he's come across someone here in Medvedev who is actually able to do that as well and potentially have better shot tolerance and do it better than Djokovic. Now, that's not to say that he's a better player than Djokovic, but I just think Djokovic is now getting older. He is not as young and spry as he used to be. He still moves phenomenally well, right? Let's not be silly about it. But he doesn't move as well as he used to. That's just a fact. He doesn't. He's got slightly older. He's not able to be as physical as he once was, which is why he's bolstered up his serve, gets more free points from it. His forehand as well is bigger. He's able to dictate in points now. He's able to press. He's got different gears. It's not just the grind mode, which is what he first had when he started having initial success on the tour. Now, Medvedev, as I said, is able to outlast you. Djokovic, what happened in that first set was that he realized that, and rather than coming up with the right game plan, he tried to almost hit Medvedev off the court. He went a lot up the line, especially on the backhand side, trying to target the Medvedev forehand. And the backhand was just not firing, and he was trying to go down the line too early. He wasn't being patient enough, and he made a lot of unforced errors, especially in I think 6 unforced errors in those first 2 games, trying to just force that backhand down the line. A lot of backhands, the net and long. And on the forehand side, we know that he is prone to a mistake or two on that side because he has definitely shorted it up, but because he tries to hit it slightly more aggressively and a bit flatter on that side at times, that does mean that some errors will eventually fall through. But the way that he adapted for me was the key. So obviously Medvedev went on to win that set 6-4. But the second and third sets were really crucial. And the reason why I say that is because Medvedev, to be fair, played pretty even tennis, I would say, with Djokovic. This was a match where it was a couple of points in each set which decided the outcome. It wasn't a case of Djokovic dominating it, and that's why you can see there was only theoretically there was only a break of serve in each set, right? But in that second set, Medvedev was 40-15 up. Now, this is where we don't just talk about the physical and the tactical side of things, but the mental side of things as well. Medvedev 40-15 up. He hits a serve out wide, and then hits a forehand. I think it was. They think he's clipped the line. The chair umpire says, "Yep, all good," and he's saying, "Yep, I've wrapped up the game." Djokovic challenges, and the ball is out. So Medvedev then has to play the point again. Now he plays a point again. If I'm not mistaken, he actually ends up hitting a second serve. Djokovic capitalizes, Medvedev loses the point. Then at 40-30, a similar story. Goes to juice. I think he then double faults, and it's a big double fault as well at advantage down, if I'm not mistaken. Now, at 40-15 up, he has, you could potentially say, choked, right? Let's be honest. Like that's what you could say. You could say that he's choked. Now, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that he choked. What I will say is that I think the break in play when the challenge happened, and then I think he just had a slight mental drop off where he just thought, and that's what a lot of players, to be fair, who are not pro elite players, in their head they think, okay, I've done this now, and then you're like, oh, what? I have to serve again, but I thought I'd just finished the game, and so then you just almost go through the motions. I feel like he's switched off. And you can't afford to switch off against someone like Djokovic because he would just make you pay. And he is so mentally in tune. And to be fair, Medvedev is for the most part as well. But Djokovic is the king, the giant when it comes to mentality. And as soon as you switch off for that slight second, that's it. Broken. And then Djokovic went on to win that set. Because no more breaks of serve. That's it, done. Then the third set, he ended up, it's the same thing. He was 40-15 up on that first break when he got broken, lost that game. Mentally, just dropped off, started to try and hit lines, trying to go way too close to the lines, the tram lines, trying to go too big, and just gave that game away. And then he eventually went a double break down, even, because again, he was employing those tactics, managed to pull one back, but then eventually got broken again to lose, right? What can we say about this? I just think Medvedev got frustrated with Djokovic towards the end. And it's funny because at the start, that's what happened. Medvedev was frustrating Djokovic. It was the other way around. Medvedev was just managing to hit the ball very cleanly, low over the net, find his angles, very good depth. And I have to really emphasize how good these guys are when it comes to depth. Depth kills, and we say this so much about Novak Djokovic, but Medvedev is the same. And what's even more remarkable about Medvedev is that he hits the ball so flat so much of the time. Occasionally, it's almost like a variation. He will whip the forehand, literally like not as exaggerated as Nadal, but he will whip the forehand, and it is with high topspin and with more clearance. That is almost like his variation. That is his slice on his forehand side that some people occasionally use as a defensive technique or a variation on the forehand. That's his variation. Now, that is just incredible because and I've said this before, I'm not quite sure how he manages to get so much depth so consistently, Medvedev, but him and Djokovic both were managing to do it, and it was like, wow, what am I watching here? Some phenomenal rallies, which ended up with both players coming to the net and then going back into neutral rallies, into a neutral position, even, and then carrying on the rallies from there. Really incredible. Some fantastic reaction work at the net from both as well. Lobs, smashes, getting returned and stuff. It was a sight to behold. It really was. And it was some really, really high quality tennis on show. Djokovic definitely raised his level after that first set, no doubt. And Medvedev's, I think, slightly dropped. It did. He got frustrated, I think, with the crowd as well. And I know the crowd disrupted in one of his service games. Actually, I'm not sure if it was the game when he got broken, actually, at 40-15 up, but it was ridiculous. I mean, the French crowd in Paris, for the most part, have been amazing. Like, the atmosphere has been phenomenal. It's been really, really good. I mean, they got behind Gaston, which was really cool, I thought. And just in general, they've been very, very loud in a good way. However, during that service game, it was a joke. I mean, they were opening doors, people were moving about, and literally every time he was trying to serve Medvedev, there was an issue. Then Djokovic had a similar thing on his service game. But the issue that I have is that with Medvedev, right, when he's serving well and when he's up in his service game, he goes like lightning through his service game. If he's being disrupted, it disrupts his rhythm. That's not to say that Djokovic wouldn't have been disrupted as well. Yes, he would have, but he takes his time like Nadal, right? They're part of that school, but take their time between points. Medvedev just goes boom, 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 right through it, right? He just, if he's serving well, picks the ball, a couple of tosses, a couple of bounces, tosses it up, bang. Okay, right, to the next one. And it's funny, like sometimes the tennis coverage cannot keep up with him. I think there was either an advert or a replay, and they went back to the match, and Medvedev had already won the next point and that was after a serve and then a 1+ shot and managed to put it away. And I was thinking, oh, come on, guys, it'll just miss that point. But that's just how quickly he plays, and he likes to play that way, which is good. Now, in terms of the matchup as well, the backhand to backhand matchup is not a good one for Djokovic, and Djokovic does definitely slice the backhand more than he used to, which is funny because Murray does a similar thing, to be fair. Age is definitely a factor. Obviously, it's a variation as well, and there is this perceived notion that Medvedev doesn't like receiving or hitting slices more than topspin. He actually struggles to return balls when they're coming at him in the slice variation. He's definitely improved that. I don't think it's as bad now, and it's not a huge weakness, to be honest with you. I didn't think it ever was a huge one, but he's definitely he seems okay on it, to be fair. Djokovic definitely utilized that. He started using a lot of drop shots in the first set as well, which was the wrong ploy. The reason why I say that is because he used it because he thought, look, Medvedev is that far back. I can use it, but he started using it at the wrong times. I think he drop shotted 5 or 6 times. I don't think one paid off. It was actually Medvedev's that paid off in the end. Then he started to hit this drop shot, Djokovic, which wasn't with air and backspin. It was more like a very, very short slice drop shot, which is like he sliced through the ball as you would a normal backhand slice, but very low over the net and that to an angle. And it wasn't really to hit an outright win. It was more to get Medvedev into a very uncomfortable position to then come into the net and finish off the point or from the back and pass Medvedev. A couple of times that did work, but predominantly in the second and third set, he utilized coming to the net to volley after he approached shots or serve and volleying. And that was a better ploy for sure, and it definitely was more effective. Djokovic does have a good drop shot, and I think it definitely has, it has its time and place. I just think Medvedev is so good at chasing down balls for the most part, and also he's such a good passer as well as is Djokovic. That is probably quite a big risk, and he just wasn't executing it well enough, I think, in that first set. But then second and third set, volleyed sublimely, and that really made the difference. For Medvedev, he's not as comfortable at the net. He did come into the net a few times, but he doesn't have that variation that someone like Djokovic does. But yeah, very, very, very good. But yeah, in terms of, I think, in terms of going forward, this could definitely be a rivalry for a few years, no doubt, depending on how long Djokovic obviously plays for, especially on the hard courts, no doubt. Medvedev needs to improve his all-round game, I think, on all surfaces, grass and clay. I'd like to see him. He had a breakthrough at Roland Garros where he hadn't won a match, got to the quarterfinals of that, and obviously on the grass as well, losing to Hurkacz in the last 16. He'll be disappointed with that, to be fair. But he's a good player. He just needs to. I think he could have a lot of success on the grass, especially. He needs to just keep on improving on the hard courts, where, to be fair, most of the tour is played on hard courts. He is a phenomenal player. So definitely watch out for him, no doubt. In terms of other things to talk about on the Djokovic and Medvedev front, obviously Djokovic has clinched and secured his world number 1 status, going past his hero Pete Samprass. They are both joint on 6-year end number 1 statuses, and he's gone past that, so now it will be 7. He's locked that in, and they will both be going to the ATP World Tour Finals as well. Okay, I think that's all in terms of the match. In terms of the tournament as a whole, a couple of things. I mean, Zverev was quite disappointing, I thought, in the semi-final versus Medvedev. Could have done better. Just seemed a bit tired. A couple of upsets, some people that I thought underperformed, and slightly worrying signs of Rublev. He's going into ATP Tour finals in really horrible form, which is a little bit of a concern to me, honestly, because he's a good player, but he's just struggled for form, let's say, and that is definitely a concern if you're a Rublev fan. Her catch, he's looked good, to be fair. He had a very good match against Djokovic, losing was that final set tiebreak 7-5. Let's see what he can do. And Yannick Sinner, I think, has been quite good as well, though Alcaraz beat him in that battle of the young guns. So it's good to see these guys coming through, and let's see what they can do. But Stefanos Tsitsipas as well, he ended up being injured, but he says he's still going to play in the ATP Tour Finals by the looks of it. What can he do? I'm not sure. And then Berrettini, it's not bad on the hard courts, but yeah, we'll do a proper preview of the ATP World Tour Finals at another date. But I thought it was important just to talk about and break down the final. Obviously, thank you everyone who also joined the live stream. It was fantastic to have so many people on, and long may that continue. We will be doing some watch-alongs for the ATP World Tour Finals, so do keep an eye out for those, and potentially as well for the WTA World Tour Finals. I think that's starting next week, if I'm not mistaken, next week maybe. So I would like to do some on that. Let's see how that goes. And on top of that, the Davis Cup's coming up, so it'll be quite nice to do that. I think they're quite fun, some of the matches, so why not? Okay, that's all from us. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And do click the notification bell as well to get alerted to all the new videos. You can also check us out on Instagram, qualityshot.f, Twitter, qualityshot1, and also on Facebook at qualityshot. We also have a Discord server, which is in the description of this video. So if you do want to get involved in the Discord chat with other members of the channel and of the Quality Shot community, then do get involved. Thank you very much, guys, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you very much.